Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Green Line right here on Rapid TV. It's always an amazing time getting to do this every day of the week. And in case you haven't noticed, The Green Line airs every Friday by 11 a.m. and it's a time where we get to talk about agricultural practices, agricultural innovation in Nigeria and around the world. And today we go yet again. But today's conversation is basically about one that a lot of people don't seem to think can be married together, right? And we're looking for better ways to ensuring that we scale up agricultural practices here in Nigeria. And by better ways, I mean if we have to involve technology, which is part of the conversations we had, 2 weeks ago. If we have to involve mechanization, which is also something we need to look into. Now, today, we look into fintech. And you know that this is making the biggest waves in the space of technology these days. But do we think that fintech can be integrated into agricultural practices? Well, that's a very big question that we'll leave to the people on the street to answer for us. Do you think that agricultural practices and fintech can be merged together to maximize agricultural practices here in Nigeria? Let's go hear what people have to say.
Agricultural stuff, we are having one issue with the technology because now instead of we to be using our manual seeds, they are importing seeds in which with a period of time, I believe those seeds will be giving us issue if we have abandoned our cultural seeds, like our own Nigerian seeds.
I believe agrotech is about agricultural technologies and probably using advanced technology for agriculture and probably using advanced technology to grow crops and for human consumption, and that's what
I so much believe people want to indulge in it and people have that basis money, but the timing, it's not everybody that wants to take that much time for them to be able to assess finances or financial stability. So most people want the quick aspect of it, and that is why we are not making it happen for us.
Okay, technology in agriculture, I tend to understand is a way of putting technology into agriculture, helping it to grow in a different dimension, basically because we all understand in the local way of farming, local way of doing agriculture, but when technology comes in, it actually take it to a different level, maybe recording of farm business, how grow your crops actually in a very different and comfortable way.
Well, you already heard that. To some, it is a possibility, but to some, they probably do not even know what fintech is about. But you see, agriculture is the backbone of Nigeria's economy and employing nearly 35% of our labor force, yet contributing less than 5% of total bank lending. Now, every harvest begins with a seed, but behind every seed is a question: who pays for the planting? Now, across the country, smallholder farmers still struggle to access credit, understand market prices, or even attract investors. And you would agree that for every business to scale from where it is to a larger point, there need to be some level of investment being put into such a business. Now, billions of naira are lost yearly to poor data, fragmented value chains, lack of financial inclusion. But a new era is emerging, one where agri-tech, digital finance, and data-driven market systems are rewriting the value and the rules of agribusiness. Now, from virtual cooperatives to precision market analytics, the future of agriculture is not just about tilling the soil anymore. It's about financing the future. Now, joining us today on the Green Line as we speak about agribusiness, agri-tech, fintech in agriculture is Mr. Bayo Adewoye. Good morning to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's good to have you here with us.
I'm happy to.
All right. Now, Mr. Bayo Adewoye, he's the CEO of Agrivesto and is basically making food available for everyone. And I ask, he didn't bring food to the studio, but we're going to do what we need to do today and having that conversation. Once again, welcome and thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, today's conversation is it's a little bit of everything here and there. Partly about integrating fintech into agricultural practices and then making credit available to farmers, which are two very important conversations that we should have in this space. Now, first of all, ask, how do you describe the current state of agricultural financing in Nigeria? Do farmers have enough access to credit? Are they just running it on their own? Or do we have enough farmers even in the agribusiness?
Okay, yeah. Okay, let me start from where you stopped.
Okay.
The Nigerian agribusinesses or agriculture in general in Nigeria is largely underfunded. And I will tell you why. First and foremost, we have over 40 million smallholder farmers in Nigeria, and they feed over 80% of the population. Like virtually all the food we consume in Nigeria are being produced by these smallholder farmers, and they are in rural communities. Now, for them to expand their farming activities, they don't have access to finance. If you look at the lending structure in the banking system today, you can see that less than 10% of the general lending goes to agriculture, which is quite very, very low. If you really want to talk about agriculture and the sustainability in Nigeria, the lending system is very, very low. So how do these farmers access finance? And that's a major problem that we even solve in our company, you know, because we've actually surveyed the farmers, we interviewed them, we saw that they actually have this problem of access to finance. A typical farmer in Nigeria today cannot just walk up to a financial institution and access loan because they won't just give him or her. You know, why is that happening? This is because these farmers don't have record of their transactions. They don't have data that they can use, you know, to be able to assess this finance. And the bankers will just look at them and say, no, I'm not going to give you finance because you don't have these things sorted out. And that's exactly what is happening. And now the issue now is that how does this farmer now assess finance? So so company like God now came on board and said, okay, how can we now solve this problem? So we come and say, okay, let us understand the problem and provide solution to it. Yeah.
And so throughout your assessment, what do you think the problem is? Because you have said farmers cannot just walk up to any financial institution to obtain loans. And you see many other businesses can do that. Textile industry people do that. The oil and gas, they do a lot of that. You know, so why do you think it is such a big challenge? Financing is such a big challenge in the agribusiness.
Okay. Like if you look at other sectors like the oil and gas and some other sectors, you can see that it's easier to lend to them because the risk assessment is, of course, is quite low compared to agric. Agric has a lot of risk, and that's exactly why a financial institution don't want to invest in its finances and all of that. So we look at this problem and we saw that the major reason why they don't want to finance them is because of the risk that are involved. You see a lot of issues happening in terms of flooding happening, you know, pests, you know, destroying crops, even herdsmen destroying their crops on the farm. They don't want to go back to the farm because of all these challenges. So even the financiers don't want to invest in them and all of that. So and we look at that and say, okay, first and foremost, how can we assess this situation and enable financial institutions to be able to assess this finance? I mean, the farmers and also even finance them. You know, so first that we discover is that they don't have data structure, data. Now, how do we verify their data? The farmers that we have in Nigeria today, most of them are rural areas. They don't have a lot of them don't even have bank accounts. You know, they don't have NI, they don't have BVN. How do you now finance people like that? You know, it's very, very risky. So we now have a system where these farmers can be verified even to their farm. You can map their farm, you know exactly the size of their farm, verify them through their NIN, verify them through their BVN, you know, get exactly where they are, know their farm location, know their farm size. Okay, get your risk assessment in their farms. What are the things that are likely to happen? Even if you invest, let's say you want to invest 50 million, for instance, in a farming community, what can you get out of that? So we do that and we put that on in a system where even financial can easily go to and say, okay, let me assess these farmers. Let's say, for instance, in a place like Nasarawa State, how can we fund farmer in the particular community? So they can go to the platform and, okay, just see what's happening in this place and let us now, okay, assess the risk, get their credit score, and get the information that they need to actually give them the loan they want to give them. So that's exactly what we've done. We've done that for the past 4 years, and we have that data, and we can say, yes, this thing is actually working. So we've done that, and we have made it accessible to people that want to lend them credit. You know.
But you see, the thing is, this is just one company doing the much that they can do. I mean, how many farmers can you cover? How many of these farmers can you cover to actually map out their farms, ascertain their credit score, to give them access to this farm? There's still a lot more others out there that no one knows about, right? So, and I'm thinking that policies happen to be one of the most effective ways to cut change across board, right? So what policies do you think that the government can introduce in these agri-tech sector or access to credit for farmers that can cut across board, both in rural, urban, and farmers that are still yet to be identified?
I think one thing the government should also understand is that because of the peculiarity of our environment, the kind of people that are into agriculture, like in Nigeria, a lot of them are smallholder, maybe like 1 hectare, 2 hectare, 3 hectares land. It is not sustainable for us. We still need more people to come into that system. People that have more than 10 hectares that want to do in commercial scale, that want to use mechanization, be able to carry out farming activities. Rather than having just the smallholder farmers that are using oil and cutlass, we need mechanized farming. So that's one thing about it. Providing then again opportunity for these farmers also access affordable loans. A lot of commercial loans today, they are not accessible. They are not even easily affordable for these farmers for them to access, even they want to access loans. So how can they now access this kind of loans to be able to expand their farming activity? It's very, very hard. So I think the first policy should be that cutting down a lot of like the way it is structured. The loan rate is structured right now. It should not be that way. It should be like maybe like a single digit loan for them to easily access and they can easily pay back.
Okay.
That's the first part of it. Then the second part of it also is that a lot of young people that are tech savvy also need to come into the space. A lot of people actually live in the space of agri. People in the villages are coming to the city. They are neglecting their farms because they don't want to go back to the farm. They should also go into the space and help these farmers so that by the time they put them on board, put them in cooperatives, put them in clusters, then of course they can easily put them together and they can access finance on their behalf and give it to them. And again, giving farmer money, like in terms of credit or loan, is not sustainable. We can give them in form of input financing, give them input, let them go to the farm and farm. And after harvest, then you can get it back. These are some of the structures to put in place for them to easily access credit.
Credit loans.
Yes.
All right. I think we should grant a bit to agri-tech now. When we talk agri-tech, what exactly do we mean?
Okay, agri-tech is simply putting technology into agri.
Okay.
Agriculture is broad. It can be in terms of crop production, it can be in terms of animal, rearing, different part of agriculture, even horticulture is part of agriculture as well. So now, putting in technology into it makes it agri-tech. Okay. And I'll give you an instance. Let's say you want to determine the size of your farmland. Okay. You cannot just go to the farm and be using ruler and pencil to be mapping it. You need a technology that can give you the accurate size of that land. And that's exactly what we even do in our company. You have a system whereby you can easily map the farm and get the exact coordinates, the location and the size of that farm. Another aspect of it is precision farming, where you can use drones to be able to get the exact thing that are happening on that farm. You know what's going on the farm. You can actually use drone to do that. A lot of things can actually happen within that space. Then again, also infusing technology to it in the area of payment system, even for the farmers as well. Whereby they can easily, dial a code and access credit instead of them to be using an app. A farmer in the village, I'm not familiar with an app, but giving them a tool they can easily use, maybe like like USSD code for them to dial on their feature phone, and they can easily dial a code and access opportunity, like they want to access credit, they want to access input, they want to access mechanization, they want to access, even market itself. So all these opportunities are there, but it now determines how to now get across to them. So now it makes it to be a technology being infused to what they're already doing. There's another farming aspect of it, but for them to now access markets, access other opportunities, you can now infuse technology to it so that they can access its opportunities. Okay.
Yes. So what about fintech? When we say fintech in agriculture, because from the start of the show we asked, is there a possibility? Do you see a possible merger between agriculture and fintech? Do you think that that's possible, and how can that be done?
Well, there's a difference between agriculture and agribusiness. Now, let me now tell you, agribusiness itself, meaning that you are making your agriculture to become a business.
Okay.
And when it becomes a business, it now means that you need to trade, transact. You are buying things, you are selling things. Now, when you buy things and sell things, it means that money is being transacted. You know, let's say, for instance, you carry your goods to the market and now want to sell it. And the buyer is not paying you. How is the buyer paying? Is he paying you in cash? Is he paying you in, by bank transfer or thereabout? So now, if for instance now, you know, of course, right, you know the policy now, you cannot be carrying too money cash up and down and all of that. So now fintech now comes in, whereby you don't even need to be expecting cash all the time that they want to pay you. So now open a bank account, let them be able to pay you either via bank transfer or maybe via like a mobile money system, you know. So fintech can come in place in such a way that a farmer can easily receive payment through a digital
platform
or channel, you know. So now, in doing that, it makes the farmer feel comfortable because cannot be carrying cash up and down.
Okay.
So now, infusing fintech into it makes them go digital, such that they can easily scale their whatever they are selling, you know. So.
All right. Now, agri-tech platforms are changing the finance landscape from what you have explained. You know, where farmers now have more visibility, farmers can now transact easily and what have you. Now, what trends are you seeing in Nigeria and in Africa at large, or are we left out in the bandwagon?
Actually, we are not left out. In fact, this is even the time people should be coming into this space because it's now becoming broad, you know, and of course it's going global. You know, let me tell you something. Early this year, I was in Germany early this year, and I saw a lot of African agri-produce being exported to Europe. And I was like, okay, you know, our cocoa is going there, our sesame is going there, our soya beans is going there. Now, how can we scale this? You know, how can we also scale this? So the opportunity is there for young people to actually tap into this. So, and that's why we as young people now infuse technology into that space. How can we make it better? How can we even attract young people to also come into that space as well, for them to use technology and make it better? The people that are in agriculture today, they are mostly old people in the village. A lot of them even getting old and dying, you know. How can now bring in young people, you know, able to do more even in this space? And that's exactly what we are even doing in our business. You know, we have a platform whereby even agent like young people that become an agent can, you know, onboard farmers in the villages, ensure that they sell their produce on our platform, and ensure that they get their money being paid to their account directly. You know, all this thing makes the young people even be interested in the agribusiness itself, because number one, you give them leverage on making money. They can actually make money through that. They can actually do a lot of things through that. You know, conversing with the villagers and the rural community that they are getting this produce from. You know, they can easily aggregate produce and still make money. You know, what doing that, and they are not just doing that alone. They are just doing that through a platform that give them that leverage. So it makes them be enthusiastic. It makes them to be happy doing, you know, doing the work. You know, because of the technology that have been infused into it. So it makes it easier for them. So.
Okay. Now, from the start, you also highlighted that one of the reasons that people don't like to invest in agriculture is because they cannot access risk. They don't understand risk and profitability in the agri-business. So how do you think that data from these market assessments can build the confidence of these investors?
Okay, so what we've done is that we have to we don't want to work with these farmers in silos or maybe like individuals. We want to ensure that they are in clusters, because a lot of them cannot produce in large quantity. Let's say they have 1 hectare and you now want to sell this produce. Maybe you can only sell me like 10 bags. It's very, very small compared to the people that are buying in large quantity. So we now put them together in clusters, in cooperatives, or in groups, or in associations, and they are well registered, they are well structured. In fact, they have president, they have secretaries and all of that. So we manage them through the platform, ensuring that they meet all the criteria in the terms of the data that they supply for us, their name, of course, their bio data, their NIN being verified, their BVN being verified on the platform, ensuring that we know where they are, and of course their farm size, their farm location. All these things are very, very essential. Then again, assessing the risk of the land they're also using too, the soil type, the soil texture. All these things are necessary, even for the lenders. Let's say, for instance, now the bank wants to lend into agriculture in a particular area. They need to assess all this data. You know, and how can they now access this data? That's why we have a platform where we now give to this farmer and say, to this institution and say, this data of these farmers, we already have it. We know where they are. We know what they are producing. We know how much quantity of what they can produce, and how much can also give you to You know, you can invest in these people. So we already give them that analytics, and they look at it, and they send in their investment into it. So for if I want to I actually assess this finance, it's not easy on being it on their own.
Okay.
But with the system that we've built, it's now easier for them to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about connecting the farmers to the market to create a fair value chain. Because you just said that you don't only farm to eat, you also farm to take into the marketplace. But first of all, how important is it for farmers to access this market in determining whether a farmer remains in business?
Well, yeah, okay, that part, I love that part seriously, because it has been the part that has given us a lot of fund, a lot of income to in our company.
Okay.
Because a lot of farmers today, that actually the one I'm actually working with, we've seen that for them to access market is difficult. It's not that they cannot sell their produce. They can, of course, they can go to the local market and go and sell it.
Yeah.
But now the ripple effect of that is that they are not making more money as they're supposed to make.
When exporting, right?
Yes, of course, exporting too is there. They can still sell locally and still make good money.
Okay.
But they can also decide to sell in some markets and make lesser money.
Okay.
Now, if a farmer harvests today and he goes to a local market within his village, he will not get the value he's getting.
Okay.
Imagine you are producing in Kaduna and you are selling to Lagos. You are making more money than someone that is selling within Kaduna.
Yeah, definitely.
So because of course,
local
that in Lagos, yes, local exports, kind of,
yeah.
You are selling beyond your, local environment that you have. So and that's the essence of all this thing, because actually doing your farming business, you actually make money. You're not just doing it for just other person, but to make money while doing it.
Okay.
So now, instead of you just selling within the local community, sell beyond that.
Okay.
And that was how we give them a platform where they can also sell beyond their local market.
Okay.
Then again, putting them in clusters also help, because they're not selling in bulk. They're not just selling individually. I'm not selling 2 bags or 3 bags. I'm now selling in trucks, meaning that I cannot get paid a premium value for my produce.
But this also has a lot of disadvantages, because the last time we got into the market, one of the major challenges these farmers faced is transporting this farm produce from where they are to another part of Nigeria. It's either they face trouble with paying excess charges on the road with police officers and what have you, or there is bad roads. I think sometime it was last year we saw like scarcity of onion in Nigeria. So we saw trucks of onions being burnt on the road, because I think these drivers were trying to run away from terrorists and insurgents on the road. You see, these are some of the challenges that these farmers face. How can they mitigate some of these challenges? Because you see, we cannot take out risk in the farming business. While we acknowledge that there are risks on the farmland, there are also risks in transporting these goods from wherever they are to other parts of Nigeria. How do you think they can mitigate?
Okay, well, of course, you cannot take away risk. Just like you said, you cannot take away risk in business. Any business has its own risk. And for agric, it's even higher because of the peculiarity of the space. I think the way we're actually getting it wrong is a part of the thinking that this thing is too risky.
So we'll not do it.
You're not gonna do it. No, you have to just take just go there and do it. You understand? That's the first part of it. The tenacity to be able to, okay, let me do this thing. The courage that you can do. Let me
regardless
go and do this
of the
yes,
outcome.
that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that the way it is being done currently is not well structured, and that's what causes a lot of companies, a lot of farmers to don't want to do it because of the way it is structured. Let me just sell my produce in my village. I don't want to take it to Lagos. Okay. So imagine if you now structure it as a business. You now have to partner with a logistic firm. You're not the one doing it. You're not the one handling it by yourself. Okay, like in our company now, we don't even handle logistics. We partner with another company that does that for us, and they give us real-time, data, what's going on, And if anything happens, they know that they are at fault. It's not our own fault. And of course, we also insure our goods on transit. Insurance is also part of the risk management.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't do all these things, and that's why they complain about the problem that comes at the end of the day. Imagine you transporting good worth of 25 million.
Yeah.
Let's say from Kano to Lagos, and you don't insure it. At the end of the day, now say that you lost money. You are going to lose money because you have not put in place the necessary measures. So insurance is also part of risk management. So put in place all these things. Definitely, the roads are not that good, but if you can put in place the right measures, you will not lose all your investment in that. So for me, I see that the farmers should come together, just the way we do in our company. put them in a cluster, and ensure that they can transport their good even at once. Farmer that has, let's say, 2 bags of maize now cannot just say want to go and sell it to Lagos. It doesn't make any economic sense. But if they are together, in large quantities, and they can put all their produce together, definitely they can transport that to Lagos.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Green Line today. Now, we have been with Mr. Bayo Adewoye. He's the CEO Agrovesto. And what Agrovesto is about, making food available for everyone. Thank you so much again for being here with us. All right, thank you very much once again to our guest for indulging us in this conversation today. Now, before we head out, there are lots of exciting agri-innovations in agritech and fintech, just as we've discussed today, in that space that are especially relevant for farmers and smallholder producers and agricultural value chains. Now, we have a few examples of some of these fintech and agritech apps and what have you. Let's take a look at that.
Across Africa, a quiet revolution is transforming the way we grow our food, a digital awakening at the intersection of agriculture and technology. From the farms of Kaduna to the fields of Kenya and Ghana, innovation is rewriting the story of farming. In Nigeria, platforms like FarmCrowdy are bridging the age-old gap between smallholder farmers and finance. Through digital crowdfunding, farmers get the capital, training, and market access they need, and investors earn real impact in return. Then there's Thrive Agric, empowering over 800,000 farmers through data analytics, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. By connecting them to credit and premium markets, it's proving that small-scale farming can drive big change. Across the continent, in Ghana, AgriCenter is solving one of agriculture's oldest challenges, market access. Its online marketplace links farmers directly to buyers and logistics, cutting post-harvest losses by nearly 30% and raising farmer incomes by as much as 20%. In Kenya, Tula and AgriWallet are redefining agri-finance through mobile money and blockchain, giving farmers credit, savings, and digital control over their resources. They're making it easier to grow, earn, and reinvest, all from a simple mobile device. And back home again, Hello Tractor, fondly called the Uber for tractors, is making mechanization accessible to rural farmers. With a tap on a phone, a farmer can now book a tractor, while owners track performance through smart IoT systems. Together, these platforms are transforming agriculture from a struggle for survival into a sustainable, data-driven enterprise. As technology meets the soil, a new generation of farmers is emerging, connected, informed, and financially empowered. This is the future of food, if you ask me. This is Agri-Fintech, and this is the Green Line.
Thank you so much for riding with us on the Green Line today, through and through. It's been an amazing conversation. And you see, I particularly am dedicated to ensuring that you know all that you need to know to get into the agricultural sector and to exceed. Knowledge is power. And if you have the right knowledge, you can engage in agricultural activities, and then you can scale beyond just eating what you farm. I know a lot of us do not farm, but the president said, go back to agriculture. It's your first love. It's our first love, right? So if you are growing to just eat, now you have the knowledge to access the market. And I'm hoping that we all get into this agricultural value chain, which basically is about exporting and transacting our produce. Thank you so much for being here again. Until next Friday, where I will be on your screens talking about yet another topic. My name is Martha Alu. Have an amazing day ahead.